let's stay here.
I did not hear it.
Let's stay here. Just stay seated.
G.I.D.
Nita, Nita, you want to come on up and get a picture?
Take away your things and go. You can't take back what you said. I know I've heard it all before, at least a million times. I'm not one to forget.
Thank you. That was excellent. I appreciate
You
it. What? How did you? Wonderful. I mean, like you do this for a living, you know? That's what it's like. That's what it's like.
Left me in pieces, too hard to breathe. I'm on my knees right now. I'm so sick of that same old love. That shit tears me up. I'm so sick of that same old love. Everybody's had enough. That same old love.
No worries. Thank you.
That same old love. I'm so sick of that same old love. Feels like I'm blown apart. I'm so sick of that
Whatever you
same
need,
old
yep.
love. The kind that breaks your heart.
Man, it's a pleasure.
That same old love. That same old love. I'm not spending love boy, what you want. Rufus boy, let me love without ever letting you know. Rufus boy, let me love boy, what you want. Without ever letting you know.
Saying dollar smile, smelling kinda loud, eyes are like Chinatown. I'm a muddy cup savage, money bag addict, such a pill popper. Did you know they had daddies? Caught up in my magic, caught up in my carriage. We could make love like rabbits. Hold up, all white, gold mouth, dog, roof on fire. Watch the whole house fall. Hold up, Tunchi on the remix, me and Kiara, she lit. That caught up in my t-shirt, that Tunchi and Kiki shit. If yellow is gold, we follow the yellow brick road. I'm letting them go without ever letting you know.
Rufus boy, let me love boy, what you want.
Moolah.
Rufus boy, let me love without ever letting you know. Rufus boy, let me love boy, what you want. Rufus boy, let me love without ever letting you know. Rufus boy, let me love boy, what you want. Rufus boy, let me love without ever letting you know. Rufus boy, let me love boy, what you want. Without ever letting you know. Caught up in my teeth. Caught up in my teeth. Tastes like money when I
Okay, good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for coming out to the My Power series today, Show Up and Show Out. I appreciate it. I want to talk about what we're going to introduce today. So we'll be talking to our expert in marketing, Darren McDuffie. So first, I want to talk about our sponsorship at Pursuit. Pursuit Lending, more than just a small business lender, Pursuit is your partner in exploring and helping to secure the right resources and funding for your business now and in the future. They meet you where you are at today. Visit our team member, Sherry, in the back table if you have any lending questions. We'll also have contact information for myself up on the screen a little bit later. Also, I would like to thank our business partners who we have collaborated with this evening, East Buffalo Development Corp. And the Bailey Business Association. Also, how our session will go is it'll be a 45-minute fireside chat with Crystal Morgan, as your moderator this evening for the Show Up and Show Out session. And feel free to enjoy the refreshments throughout the presentation. So don't feel as though you can't get up and move around. We're family here, so you're all good. And then if you hit the QR code on your table, for those who are present, you get an opportunity, if you complete the survey, to win a free advertisement. So keep that in mind for your business opportunity. I am Crystal Morgan, again, your moderator for tonight's event, and I would love to introduce Darren McDuffie, our expert marketing professional. Come on out, Darren. How are you this evening?
Good, doing good.
Yes.
Excuse me here.
I love your hat and your
Thank
pants.
You. Never wore a hat like this in my life, but this event is called Show Up and Show Out, so I can't be showing up regular.
No, you can't. No, you can't. I feel underdressed or overdressed, depending on how you looked at it.
Thanks for having me as well.
Of course, you're welcome. So we're going to first dive into a little bit of an introduction with Darren. You guys are going to get the opportunity to get to know him and know more about his business as well. So Darren, tell us about your career in marketing. Well, you actually, not to cut you off, but you guys are going to be excited to know that he is a master of a couple of trades. So I'll let you tell the story.
Okay, I'll make it quick. I'm a retired veteran, two-time combat veteran. I served in the United States Air Force and left and served in the United States Army, where I retired out of infantry and did 2 combat tours. And I'm currently a lieutenant in the Buffalo Police Department. So that's my current career. And I own a marketing and web design company currently as well.
Nice.
So, yes,
and
ma'am.
What's the name of that company?
It is McDuffie Marketing, LLC.
Awesome. You got to tell the people because they're going to look you up when we're done with this.
Yes, ma'am.
So your professional background, thank you for your service, by the way.
No worries.
That's a big deal.
Thank you.
Why a career in marketing?
So in short, when I always, I hate to say born entrepreneur, but all my life, that's what I wanted. I wanted to have the freedom in business and owning my own and having the financial freedom as well. So when I got my career as a police officer, I quickly dove into business, and $30,000 later with the business and, no customers, I was watching the other marketing agencies that I was paying and all of these other companies. So I started watching what they were doing, and I started learning from them. And then I quickly did some research regarding that type of industry. And in that research, after I spent that money, I was extremely discouraged. And I didn't want to, do business anymore, but I had to push through. Yeah. So I researched the digital world, and it was 2 things that I enjoyed with that. It was the financial, opportunity to grow tremendously financially. Whereas, like, I'm not tied to one city. I can have customers all over the world. And one of the most important things that enticed me regarding the digital world was that you're not tied anywhere. You have the freedom to work anywhere. Like, for example, my family was in Mexico. I had a client that had an issue, a pretty big client with the email, business email. It took about an hour. I was in Mexico and I took care of business. I didn't have to fly anywhere. I wasn't tied to anywhere. I was able to conduct business in Mexico. And that's one of the biggest selling points for me in owning a marketing agency, having that freedom and growth for financial freedom as well.
And being able to be international is a big deal, especially when it comes to diversifying your business income and getting revenue. That's a big deal.
Absolutely. I knew I wanted to get into a high revenue business.
Yeah.
And in doing that research, I knew that it'll be difficult, but in order to make the kind of revenue that for my, regard the goals that I have, I know that I have to have an international business.
Absolutely, absolutely. So what we want to get into now is more of honoring your brand. So it's a big deal that we want to create a culture of honor, right? So a lot of our business owners here, we want to ensure that we're able to give them tips on how to kind of level up.
Yes.
Or scale up their business. And even if that's not your goals, because you'll talk about that a little bit more, sometimes your goals isn't always to level up or scale up. Sometimes it is to just stay where you are, but still look amazing. So what we're gonna go over tonight is how to research what you're getting into. What do we mean when we say research the industry that you're getting into? Give us tips, business owners here, business owners that will see the video later. Give us tips on how they should research their business to make sure it's something that is lucrative. It makes sense.
Outstanding. Yeah, that's great. So research is key, and fortunately now we are in the digital phase and we have information at our fingertips. It's just the difference between us as business owners and entrepreneurs. We have to be good at zoning in on what we're looking at. So what we're looking up. So if you want to, I'll use a restaurant industry for example. If you want to start a restaurant, I would start with YouTube. There's a ton of people on YouTube who are giving away a lot of free information, and you can get the information that way. And then from there, depending on the industry that you're getting yourself in, you can go to your local city hall. So again, most brick and mortar businesses, you have certain licenses that you have to have. And if you're unsure of that, again, look it up. And if you want to be extra sure, go to city hall. They'll let you know what office to go to. And not only will they give you the information, they'll hand the paperwork right over to you. Okay.
Yep.
So that's another way. And also, don't disregard meeting people. Especially small businesses. If you're opening a hair salon, barbershop, restaurant, even a dental office. If you're a dentist and you want to start your own dental office, I'm sure that there is a dentist an owner that you can talk to. And the only thing I would say when you're meeting people, just provide that professional courtesy. Always offer to pay them for their time and to pick their brain. So those are some major ways where before you actually start your business, like if I would have done that before I started my first business, that would have saved me almost $30,000. I bit off more than I can chew. I needed a lot more money to grow that kind of business, and I didn't do enough research before I got myself into it, and it was a learning a very heavy learning situation for me.
And that's a huge tip, because a lot of people do not understand the professional courtesy of when someone's offering their time, to offer to pay them for their time. And sometimes people may ask, well, can I afford that? But it's a part of the growing pains of getting that mentorship. And also as a business owner, we had a prior session before where we spoke about mentorship and collaboration. All of that comes into play, and it does in this environment as well. So what I also want to ask you about is having a good grasp on startup costs and scaling up and requiring manpower. When you started with your $30,000, right? Lack of research, you did falter a little bit. Mm-hmm. So when you had to scale up, give people the tips on how you maneuvered?
Scaling up. So just not to be the dead horse with my first business venture, but that's a good point that you made. Starting off with 30,000, I didn't, and it was 2,000 here, 5,000 there, 1,000 there, $800 for this cover, and then by the end of like a year and a half later, I'm almost $30,000 in. So that's how, and that's what's normal. It normally happens.
And
that
you
way.
weren't expecting. I'm sure you weren't.
No, absolutely not. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
So yeah. So having that good grasp and being organized with that as well, and I wasn't. So
right.
Again with that regarding a budget, it comes down to research as well. Certain businesses. Another reason behind me getting into a marketing agency, making that, I hate to say mistake, but learning from my that first business venture I had, I boiled down and I got really serious about research. And in the marketing industry, I knew that it was a low cost for me to get into this industry. You see? So
that's
it's not
huge.
So I knew that I did my research. So it goes back to research. If you're starting a restaurant, you should know that, okay, do I have $50,000 to buy this equipment? If not, in knowing that you need that, how much this stove might cost, how much this brick and mortar location may cost me, and having that knowledge and research of what this may cost, then it will cause you to, okay, let me go and get this funding. Some people don't even know how to get the funding or what funding to get because they won't research their startup costs and how much everything is going to be. And then it'll be like me for my first business venture. Normally you're not slapping $30,000 down and not understanding that it's over time. And I like to use Subway, for example. This is a real story about Subway. They almost lost their business, the first Subway, because he needed $500 for an industrial sink. And at that time, I forget, it was a long time ago, early 1900s or something like that. So $500 was a lot more, it was at that time. Yeah, it was a lot at that time. So he almost lost the business because of that. And fortunately, he pushed forward. But just imagine that man, like, I need to pass inspection. I don't have this money to buy he was setting up everything in his restaurant, and he didn't have enough money to purchase that sink to pass inspection. He could have, imagine if he would have lost that, we wouldn't know what Subway is now. It turned into a multi-billion-dollar industry.
That's a large franchise. Yeah. And I will also like to throw in there, to plug Pursuit, of course, is along with that research, talk to professionals in the funding industry, whether it's banks like M&T, whether it's Pursuit, which is a community development financial institution. Make sure that's a part of your research, because whether you're ready for lending or not, you want to make sure that they connect you with professionals that could get you ready and sometimes prevent some of those mistakes. We'll ask like deep diving questions to ensure that you're kind of going in the right direction. So sometimes you have to wait that year and you may be 5,000 in, but sometimes you may have to wait another year to kind of pull everything together. But part of that research, like you said, Darren, is going online, talking to City Hall, things of that nature, but also plugging in with your financial institutions, your bankers, and things of that nature is also important.
Yeah, that's outstanding.
Of course. So speaking, and I want to wrap in manpower. So with growth or with building a business, a lot of times you start out by yourself. Yes. And that's with any industry. Sometimes if you're a contractor, it's you and your ladder. Mm-hmm. If you're a restaurant owner, it's you and that new stove you just bought that was like $15,000. So it's like, I'm working by myself. I can't afford nothing else. And that's okay, right? Yes. So what tips would you give someone who needs to build the manpower of their business? Go from just them being themselves to growing, and you're in that process of eventually doing that as well. Yes,
and again, you're going to hear me say this a lot today. Every business is different, So for me in the digital world, one of I didn't say this last time we was rehearsing, but one of my secrets is that I utilize services overseas. So I was a part of a business group. I made friends with the lady, Ms. Bhavini. She's wonderful, and she owns a gigantic company in India, and there are they call it virtual assistants. So I can pay them $5 to $10 an hour to do small jobs here and there versus paying American $25, $30 an hour, which that probably sounds terrible me saying that,
but listen, outsourcing is a real thing.
Outsourcing, yes. So that's another tactic, and it's about strategy. So I can use a restaurant in Buffalo for an example. Do you mind if I say the name?
You could say
I can say the name.
that's
Okay,
fine.
so Monty's. Most of us are aware of what Monty's are, of what Monty's is. They, it's a small corner store. They pump out a lot of product there. She started off with the hot plate. You see, so it was, she had pictures of that. Like she started off in front of that building at Monty's with the hot plate making pastelitos, and that's all she made. So that brings me to this point. With that said, if you're a contractor, you may be skilled in doing bigger jobs, right? But if you only have resources, if you only have yourself in your ladder, you may only have to, okay, I can do this drywall, and that's the only service I'm providing for now. While you're providing that service, save your money, scale your business, bring someone on, and now you can provide the other services you wanted to provide. So you don't have to provide everything. You see what I mean? Yeah, you can. If you have a problem, if you have a hard time finding help, you can scale your business down and say, okay, this is what people want. I'm going to provide this over and over again until I can make more money, so I can scale the business up. And always go to who do you know. Like I was a part of a business group, and one of the I was the youngest person in the group, and they will always say, who do you know? Don't disregard who do you know. The people around you, make sure they're good people.
Absolutely.
And you can bring those people in, and say, give them incentives. Like, hey, I can't pay you now, but if you do this with me for a few months, give me 3 months or what have you, I'll hire you part-time. And there are stories of very successful businesses who actually practice that. They started off, they had interns or a family member promised to pay them. 6 months later, they are paying that person part-time.
Absolutely.
Year and a half later, now they're paying them full-time, and they start scaling the business up from there.
So I think with this session of Show Up and Show Out, it's very, very important to realize that growth is sometimes your business plan and the things you see when you first start out. It is a marathon and not a sprint. So you have to definitely be okay to alter your plan. And like you said, you start off with one thing, you take your time, you grow it from there, and then you hire as you grow, which is very important.
Absolutely.
But what I want to bring to everyone next is about personal brand. So always being on. So I know when we met, that was something huge that we spoke about. Yeah. And always being on is very important. So even the business owners here, or even me representing, it's important to represent your brand all of the time. And not in a way where it's exhausting. And you'll explain to us that it doesn't have to be something that's arduous, but it's definitely important. So how would you explain where someone has to have a personal brand outside of their business?
Yes. So like Robert F. Smith, he's one of the guys I follow online. He's the wealthiest black businessman in the United States of America. Robert F. Smith, and he says it all the time. We have to be very careful of what we put out now, because we are now in a digital age. You see it all the time. You see people becoming quarterbacks, and then something that they tweeted when they were 16 years old is making the media. You have 16 and they're like 25 now.
Right.
You see,
right.
So that's a good example of always being on brand. So they wasn't on brand when they were 16, and it caught up with them later on and almost caused them not to have a contract.
Absolutely.
You see, so we must conduct ourselves in a professional manner when we're on camera, off camera, and you never know who's looking at you. You never know who you're going to be in front of. It's something that's going to help your brand or hurt it. So that's pretty much being on brand with your business.
Absolutely.
And also the being on time piece. Being on time, showing up appropriately. It comes down to the brand. If I'm in the music industry, it may be appropriate for me to show up in a t-shirt and jeans at my show.
Absolutely.
But if I'm meeting with your company, if I'm meeting with Pursuit, and they want to hire my marketing services, I'm not going to show up like this.
Yes.
But there are people that I've heard of in the city of Buffalo, New York, from clients that I currently have,
right.
And they actually make fun of these people. They show up to meetings in t-shirts, and the one guy had a African thing around his neck with a t-shirt on and jeans, and it was like, the jewelry is out and stuff like that. That's not being on brand. That's not representing
right.
your brand. You're not gonna sign a serious company. They're not gonna hire you. So you have to know how to move and how to be on brand. On and off, basically.
Absolutely. So what I'm gathering from it, and this is a great tip for many business owners, When you're going for lending and you're going to a bank or you're coming to Pursuit or whatever the case may be, representation of yourself is very, very important. It will show your level of seriousness. However, if we see you on stage or at a community event, you have to also represent your brand as a way to make the community comfortable. So it's all about being able to kind of go in between. That's super important.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Promoting your business in a funny way, doing things like this for branding purposes. Yes, that's one thing, but showing up to meetings, being late, when you're on time, if you're on time, you're late, right?
Yep.
All of those type of things, you have to, when you conducting business, you have to make sure you be on the brand. No marketing campaign in the world is going to fix a person being late and not looking and dressing the part.
Yep, yeah. And it's very important. And another thing for businesses, when you're representing your brand and you're inside of your business, so say if it's a brick and mortar, you're inside of your restaurant, or when you're like McDuffie Marketing, and you're representing, say, on a webinar or something like that, what would you suggest are good ways for people to represent their brand when they're currently working or advertising or whatever the case may be?
Oh, when they're currently
literally, yep, in action.
So like the brick and mortars, I don't know if I'm jumping ahead here, but
you're good.
Yeah. So I always say try to mimic the big dogs. Try to mimic the billionaires. Even if you don't want to be a billionaire, they're doing something right. Right?
Absolutely.
So Target, Walmart, Wegmans, they're doing something right. So, in representing your brand, if I own a restaurant, if I own a barbershop, I should be in uniform. I see this barbershop, Supercuts, they're a multi-million-dollar brand. Everybody looks the same and dresses the same. It doesn't cost me much money to make all of my employees look and dress the same as well. You see, so that's representing your brand. Having scripts when people answer the phone. I had a buddy of mine who owned a restaurant, very, very nice guy. He's a judge now, and he was hiring people. They was answering. I was kind of playing secret shopper for his business. I will call.
That's what friends are for, by the way.
Yeah. So I will call his business. They will answer the phone. Hey, what's good? That's how they pick. That's how they answer the phone. Yeah, so but having those type of things in your business to be on brand while you're conducting business, and if for those of us who don't have a brick and mortar, is the business email address is Walmart. Is it Walmart at yahoo.com? Is contact us at walmart.com. Those little things are huge.
It's a big difference.
Yeah, it doesn't. Now to mimic, that's one thing that we can mimic that big corporations do that only costs us $6 to $12 a month. Some businesses need 1-800 numbers. I'm an international business, so a 716 number is not going to do me any good. All of my competitors, GoDaddy, all of these people have 1-800 numbers. It costs me about $60-something a month for 1-800 number. You see, I can keep going. The one big thing for businesses, and I'll mention this real quick, for those who are digital and you don't have a brick and mortar, you're into consulting, you're into coaching. There's a lot of coaches. One thing that having the bells and whistles. There's a famous marketer, Asian guy. He tells a long story about how the client don't care if you're new or not. They want you to look the part. They want you to look like you're rich. They want you to look. So he will park his car down the street, his bucket that he had, and he will walk. He was in New York somewhere, downtown New York, and he will make sure his clients didn't see his car. And he always made sure he had a nice suit on. When he was able to get money to have an office, that office space for our type of businesses, for people who are in the digital business, who are in consulting and business coaching and lifestyle coaching, those type of businesses, having office space in prime areas of your city. So I'm located at 50 Fountain Plaza, downtown Buffalo, New York. If you're in California, I had 2 clients in California, and you're looking my business up and you know that I'm downtown, you think that I'm worth way more money than I actually am.
Absolutely.
Because I'm downtown in my city. You're right. So they're the sort of big players, the people that's looking to spend money. It's sorry to say they're going to Mercedes-Benz and BMW dealership to buy a car. They're not going to the used car dealership. So you have to do your best to make yourself look like the actual dealership. Don't make yourself look like the used car dealership.
Absolutely. So representation is always important, and bringing it up a notch, even if it's for a small cost, it'll have a big outcome.
Quick tip when it comes to office space, I wish I'd known this ahead of time and I didn't.
Oh, tell us. We need to
You
know.
don't have to. You can get a virtual office. For example, 50 Fountain Plaza. I don't have any ties with this company, or it's a Regus building,
Right.
but it's a lot of buildings in different cities, including Buffalo, New York, to where you can pay $50 a month and have a business address downtown. They collect your mail for you, and when you do have a meeting, you can rent the office space. You can rent the conference room. It costs. I don't do that, but I wish
Right.
I would have known that ahead of time. But if I did that, I would be saving around $1,600 a month. So I will be able to pay
That's a big deal. That's a big save.
$50 a month for a $50 to $60 a month for an address downtown. If you have a meeting with me and I want to meet with this company, it'll cost me under $100 to rent that conference room. The company have no idea. They think that's my office. So it's about
It
strategy
helps.
as well.
It helps to keep to be convenient and stay international for all those in the service industry.
Absolutely.
So now we're going to talk about business culture or marketing today. I'm so sorry. So marketing today is super important, and we want to kind of get into traditional versus the modern plan. And what we mean by that is business plans that consist of your marketing plan. So it's all wrapped in. The marketing plan kind of like should be, if done correctly. Of course, visit SCORE, SBDC, or whatever to get advice on that. But the typical business plan and marketing plan versus what people are doing now to kind of build their marketing. Kind of give us tips on what's the difference between each.
Okay.
And why one is better than the other, if that makes sense.
Yes, I'll point on that. So in short, you have college versus in certain businesses. Of course, I can't teach myself how to be a doctor, right?
No.
So, but in certain industries in the digital world, college is a business. So it is what it is. College is a business, and you're starting to see universities provide these hybrid marketing programs to catch up with what's going on. For example, if you and I are in college and we're taking marketing, that's what we're doing. We're in our third year in college, right? And we don't know what TikTok is. College is not teaching us what TikTok is. We graduate, everybody's on TikTok.
Which is true.
And they didn't tell us about that. You see, so there is a such thing as, you can get a lot of good information from going to college for marketing, but in this industry, you do have to get your feet wet. It's much faster. It's a much faster pace. So those business plans and the things that they do in a lot of the universities, it's a business plan. It's a business plan for them. They're gonna break something that you can learn in a month. They're gonna break it down into a whole year. You see?
For sure.
Yeah, so they're gonna do it. They're gonna do it like that. And like I'll give a real example of a previous client of mine. He was a big paying client. This guy was paying me almost $2,000 a month. I actually mentioned him in my book, and I provided this analytics, this plan, like telling him his numbers and all this. It looked really nice too. I took a long time.
Oh,
I was proud of it. I had a folder and everything. I had my logo on it.
Right.
And this guy was pushing. He was older. Most of my clients are older males. He was pushing 70 years old at the time. He said, "What is this? What do I need with this?" He said, "How much money did I make?" You see, he doesn't care about all of that stuff. What is it? He's looking at his numbers and what he's getting. Is his business slowing down? And that's what they want. So you can. It's good for business owners, for all of you. When you're talking to people like myself, people who are business consultants, be very cautious of people writing you up business plans and charging you a one-time fee to write up a plan and then tell you to do. I'm not saying that's a bad thing,
right?
But be cautious of it, because we're in a digital age now, and that industry, like myself, like you, I have a skill set. I consult people, and then I can dive in to set the email up, to set the campaigns up. That's what it should be now. If I can give you a business plan,
Absolutely.
should tell you to do it, you need a website and how your website should be, and I'm telling you need to be on Facebook a certain way, I should be able to have a skill set to build that.
Absolutely.
You see what I mean?
And I will like to add in there that there are many resources where you could get a free business plan built. They'll either provide the template, or it's something that is fairly easy. Our website also has information on business plans. So it's super important, like you said, to not let someone charge you a one-time fee and just, it's not really necessary to do that. However, I will say a business plan is extremely important because if you go for funding and you're a startup, it'll be very important for a bank or a CDFI like Pursuit to see your business plan, simply because it shouldn't also encompass your marketing plan, which you would help them with.
Absolutely.
So you're really good at helping people build that marketing side of their plan, because that'll determine budget. That'll let you know how much you need to borrow, and then we'll get into budget a little bit later.
That's excellent. You said that. Going back to our
Absolutely.
first point of research,
Yeah,
right?
it's important.
You might be doing your research, land on a company like Pursuit, and realize you can get a free business plan.
Right.
You see, so
Exactly.
that's all the research, and research never stops.
Right.
No matter if you become a multimillionaire, you're just doing more different kind of
still
research.
should. Yeah.
Yes, all the research. So that's excellent. That's
Yeah,
excellent.
be a forever learner. That's important for sure. And then also we want to get into costs. So marketing today is produced and made public very quickly. So as far as cost, we're going to eventually get into we're going to also get into how to effectively market your business. So kind of give us tips on that.
The cost of
Being effective and watching your costs at the same time. Budget friendly.
So again, when it comes
In reference to what you provide, because
Okay.
we want to work with you.
So, well, it's I always say, hey, you go with who fits your business and your brand. You might not like my personality, you might like a different company, but
Right.
yeah, I appreciate that. But so, in regards to cost, it all comes down to the type of business and brand that you have, the type of business you have, because we spoke about this in great detail.
Absolutely.
A vast amount of marketing agencies are not honest about this because it's about closing the contract. Okay, so myself, I try to have more integrity, and I'm honest. I say no a lot. So I'll give this example in regards to cost. Okay, when in the digital world. So let's say an accident injury attorney, they need Google Ads. Okay, if I get in a car accident today, it's very unlikely that I'm going to know someone that's going to refer me an accident injury attorney. I'm most likely going to go online and I'm going to shop around, right? So when I go online and I go on Google and I search accident injury attorney and I press that I click on that specific website, that's going to cost them over $10 per click. Okay, that is extremely high. My business on Google, I'm talking about Google, not Facebook or social media, but my business, my cost per click is between $2.50 upwards of $5, which is still expensive. Okay,
It is.
Someone selling a hair care product, their cost per click may be $1 or under $1. So that goes into your budget. If you're promoting a service online, you have to do research on what your cost per click is, because every business is different. So if I tell an accident injury, like if I actually did speak to an accident injury firm years ago, but not a firm, it was a guy. He was starting a new business. He's an accident injury attorney, and he wanted to pay around $500 a month. If I allowed that guy to pay me $500 a month, telling him I'm going to grow an accident injury firm, I'll just be taking his money for a year contract and waiting for him to cancel. A lot of companies do that. So we have to be aware. And going to my freelancer conversation, we all start off as freelancers. There's nothing wrong with that. When I start off, we have to start somewhere, right?
We do. We all have to start somewhere.
I'll quickly say this. When I started off as a freelancer, I would take anything. I was taking $100 here, $250 there. That's not doing the business any good. Okay, those businesses wasn't aware, like, hey, you're paying me $250 a month. The business is excited. They're like, yes, we have a marketing professional. We're going to grow. I'm not growing your business for $250 a month.
Right.
So, and I did a video on this. I'll point on this. On my social media page, I did a very quick video talking about a dealership. If I tell you, if I'm a salesman at the Mercedes-Benz dealership and I say, hey, I have a Mercedes-Benz for $5,000, brand new, 2020, 2023, you're instantly going to be like, something is wrong with this. What's
Something
going
is
on?
terribly wrong.
Something is wrong, right?
Right.
It's no different with marketing services. We have to be aware of how much things cost, other than trying to go for a freelance or low cost on that. So anyway, I can get more descriptive with that, but I'm gonna keep it right there because it'll get
Absolutely.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
when people are starting out, you do consultations, I'm assuming.
Absolutely.
Right,
Absolutely.
to see where their business is, whether it's at the beginning, the middle, they could be 10 years in, and you sit with them and do a consultation.
Absolutely.
Is there a
Absolutely.
cost to the consultation?
No, I don't charge for consultation. Well, for so for certain consultations I charge. Like there are people I do coaching, so that's a different brand. But
Oh,
I
okay.
do coach. So I do coach. But for my marketing agency, people that want to schedule meetings with me and get a consultation, that's free, and I prefer it. I prefer to have several conversations before I take someone's money every month, especially getting
Absolutely.
into a marketing package.
That
So
makes sense.
and the vast majority of the conversations, y'all probably going to say this a few times today, the vast majority of businesses that I have, even larger businesses, they have to work on the foundation. Before they get into the good stuff, before they get into the advanced level of marketing, we have to make sure we tighten up the website, tighten up social media, tighten up Google Maps, all of these different things. And I normally start there before we go forward to the other stuff.
So we're going to get into, next we're going to roll into rookie tax. Kind of explain what that is and what to be aware of.
Okay, I'll quickly explain that. So rookie tax is basically online they call it the dummy tax or stupid tax. I try my best not to use the term dummy or stupid, So I call it the rookie tax. That is something that's basically it's mainly for Google, because Google is very advanced. Your pay-per-clicks, running ads on Google. But there is a rookie tax on social media as well. I'll give a quick example of that. For those of you who have business pages or have seen a business page on Facebook or as admin on a business page, you will see that blue boost post button, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So I seen that. That's how I was running ads for businesses when I started off. I call that the blue button of death. So in short, in our mind, just like I thought when I started off, we think that Google and Facebook is going to take our money and they're going to do the best they can automatically to grow our business. No, they're going they're going to take our money.
Right.
So and that blue boost post button, say you spend $250 to promote this video, something is better than nothing, but what Facebook is going to do, they're going to manually promote that online, right? So, and when they manually promote it, in short, it's more technical.
There's
here,
more
but-
to it,
Yeah,
for
it's more
sure.
to it, but to simplify it, when they promote that, they're going to look for the cheapest ad space. So when those of us who are on social media, we're watching a video, right? And we're in the middle of that video, the video turns off and a 15-second ad pop on. That's called an in-stream ad. That's one type of ad out of like dozens of different type of ads on Facebook. So if I'm promoting this video and we're doing it, we're giving an introduction and I'm clicking that blue boost post button, Facebook might promote that video in in-stream ads. This video, it won't even get past the introduction.
Oh, goodness.
So there are people like myself, I did this when I first started. You drop $250 or $500 boosting your own posts, and you're going to get a lot of numbers too. Because it's the cheapest ad spend, but you don't know that your ad is going in-stream 15-second videos for a 2 to 3 minute video you're trying to promote. You see what I'm saying? So now when you do it properly on Facebook, you go into the back end. It's called Facebook Business Manager. It's now called Facebook Meta. When you go into the back end of that and run ads correctly and you manually run your ads, that's when the skill set happens. You will see that there are dozens of different ad placements, right? So if I have a vertical video, I'm not going to put that on the Facebook wall. I'm going to put that in going to put that in Reels. You
Right.
see?
Right.
So I'm going to unclick like a dozen different ad placements and I'm going to place that vertical ad in Reels. But most people don't do that. So that's an example of Facebook. Google is worse because you can kind of skate through with social media. Something is better than nothing. You can boost your business or what have you.
For sure.
But in Google, I'll give a quick example of what happened in my company. When you first go to Google and you want to run ads and promote your business online, those are where the buyers are. Google is now, Facebook is later. Social media is later. We're going on social media to be entertained. If I'm looking for a roofing company, I'm going to Google, right? So now when I'm going into Google and I'm promoting that roofing company, Google gives you an option to do it manually. That's how they get you. When they do the same thing, they manually do it and they drain your budget. That's really not the rookie tax we're talking about, but you can get rookie tax that way as well. When I promoted my business on Google, thought I knew what I was doing. I'm a big bad marketer, right?
Right.
And
Right.
So in short, At the time, I was spending just shy of $1,000 a month on Google, right? And a couple of months later, I look at what I'm ranking for. I was ranking for something called Magneto Web Design. I was running ads in the United States and Canada. In Canada, they have some kind of, I don't know what it is, it's some type of platform called Magneto Design or Magneto Design Services. Everybody, for some reason, my ad started going in Canada I started ranking for Magneto Web Design. So let's say my cost per click is $1. Let's just say it's $1 and I spend $1,000 that month for those clicks, right? Say 700 people clicked on my website, they search Magneto Web Designers near me or Magneto Web Design. They click, 700 people click on my website because it popped up for Magneto Web Design. They look on my website and they say, oh, he builds on a WordPress platform. They click off. I just spent several $100s for those people that didn't even, for several hundred people that did not need my service.
Not at all.
I did not know what a negative keyword was. I'm going to get into that. But so Google, you have to constantly stay on Google to teach the machine, don't rank me for Magneto Web Design. I didn't know that. I got the rookie tax.
Absolutely.
I should have been going into my ad platform every day and seeing, oh, Magneto Web Design, I don't offer that. Put that in negative keyword. I can tell Google, don't rank me for that. You see?
Right,
So
and you paid for something. You paid for a service that doesn't bring customers to you. It didn't build your clientele at all.
It's like Pursuit ranking for marketing services when you're a lender.
Exactly.
Right? You can actually you can do that on Google if somebody is
Right.
promoting this company and they don't pay attention or they might not know what they're doing. Pursuit can be spending thousands of dollars ranking for marketing services if the marketing agency don't catch it. And then once they catch it, they'll go to rookie tax. You've been wasting
Absolutely.
thousands of dollars. Yeah.
And so that kind of, what the advice that you give us and the gems that you gave us so far kind of goes into being effective when you do marketing, because that's not effective at all.
No, it's not effective.
It's just getting you visual and you're getting, traffic, but you're not getting clients.
Yes,
which can
and-
which can happen in your industry as well as, like, say, a restaurant or something.
Absolutely. And not so much as being effective, but we have to stand up. There are certain things that we can do and there are certain things we cannot do.
Right.
So, there comes to a certain point in our businesses where we have to grow and we have to get the industry, I have to get a professional to do that part for us.
So what
Right,
tools are effective to ensure that you're using every marketing dollar possible and properly to kind of get more customers in the door or get more clients? What do you suggest?
So it comes down to it comes down to the type of business you're promoting.
For sure.
Some businesses do great on social media. Landscapers, I've seen, there's a buddy of mine that did his website, he's a landscaper, and he makes a killing on social media. They love before and after pictures. So, and it's visual. So
Right.
social media is very visual, and he's cutting grass, he's entertaining people and saying, hey, the lawn looked like this, now it looks like this. And I'm like, oh, they're inboxing them. On wedding DJs, I know on Wedding DJ, they do very well online. So barbershops and hair salons, they do those before or after pictures. We come in there looking crazy, and now
Right.
we're looking good.
Right.
So when I'm scrolling around on social media, I'm sick of my hairstylist. I see that, oh man, that looks really nice. That's enticing me, that's entertaining me. I may hit them up. But certain businesses and services, like I talk about the Maple Farm. He's a client that turned into a friend, so I use his business as an
Which is
example.
nice.
When I started off with his business, I tried to sell maple syrup. I was running Facebook ads to sell maple syrup online. Needless to say, other than some of his friends and family and a couple of people here and there, we wasn't making many sales. People are not going on social media to, I'm not scrolling, sitting on my couch. Oh man,
I need some maple syrup.
I need some maple syrup. So we have to, sometimes it's more of a common sense. We have to think of, we have to take ourselves down as consumers.
Absolutely.
If you don't mind, I might as well do that. And for those of you who
Yes,
have your
of
phone,
course.
if you can pull your phones out and go to Google, okay, and search roofing companies near me. If we can do that real quick.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you. Search roofing companies near me and just take, we probably can't say the name of the companies.
Yep.
So yeah, if some of you see that, blurt out a name of a roofing company that you see should see this, it should say sponsored. When you go to Google and you put in roofing companies
And
near
it'll
me.
be at the top, correct? And say sponsored right above it.
Yup. So it's at the top, and sometimes it's in the bottom, and then they have ads and maps. So Google have like 3 different sections, 3 or 4 different. Oh, what was that? Roofers Buffalo, right? So you see, now I'm glad you said that, Roofers Buffalo, not to get into keywords, but see, that company was really slick in putting Buffalo in their roofing company, because now that helps them rank. They're paying for the ads, but having Buffalo and then promoting in Buffalo helps their search
It's
engine
a big
optimization.
deal.
I'm sorry, I have a question on that. Now, when you Google like commercial cleaning companies, it comes up residential, or like cleaning companies, it just comes up residential, the first ones. Like,
Yeah, so that's the keyword. So that industry, we'll have to look up. There's tools that you can use like Uber Suggest, ubersuggest.com. That's another gem there. And you can actually look up cleaning companies, and they will actually suggest the keywords for you to put in on your Google. There's a lot more to it. Like say Google was a lot.
Right.
It's a lot to that
Right.
to rank online, because that's where the money is at.
And that's what you help people with, is and it's helping them put keywords in, so that one question that Jocelyn had was, why is when you put in cleaning companies, it's all residential, and then you said the best way to do it is to create a keyword
Is to
that
look up the
kinda
keywords.
draws people
Absolutely.
into that.
Yes,
What's
ma'am.
another
Oh.
roofing company that someone's seen right over here? So Buffalo Residential Roofing.
See another keyword with Buffalo in it.
Yeah.
So they're doing that on purpose. So you will see that, and I just want to do one more to make it, because this is a unique one.
Absolutely. Yep.
Type in soul food. A Marie, you have something, A Marie? That's my daughter there. What you have, baby? Oh, there you go. There you go. And
So only one had Buffalo.
yes, and can you all type? Oh, sorry, you have something, ma'am? That's probably a third-party website. We don't
Got
have
it.
time. We don't have time to get on that. But that's
Right.
another. That's a
That's
secret.
another
That's a
one.
secret of mine for companies who have smaller budgets that may not be able to afford clicks on Google. There are some other search engines you can get your feet wet with as well. And I'll keep
Got
that there.
it. Got it.
So
Absolutely.
One more for me. Type in soul food.
What do you
Soul
get?
food near me. SOUL. Soul food near me.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of restaurants in the inner city. I didn't mention this last time, that people coming from different states, going back to my buddy, he had a lot of people coming down from Canada, and they wanted soul food. Like, I'm looking for Asian cuisine. I'm looking for Mexican food. Soul food is something that people actually search for, especially for Black-owned restaurants.
Absolutely.
And yeah, so did you guys search soul food near me?
What came up? So Fat Cats came up.
There you go. Jeanette Sequoia.
Jeanette Sequoia.
That's another. You see what I mean? So now they're probably not paying for ads. They're probably just ranking, and that's a lot to explain with them naturally ranking. So if I start a soul food business and they're a client of mine, and they actually have a budget for this, because you need a budget for Google, that's more expensive.
For sure.
And they're paying for ads in this area for soul food near me. I will take all of the people that's coming outside of Buffalo searching that. I'll make sure that ad is popping up at the top. So they will see that ad before they even get to Fat Cats or Jeanette Sequoia, if those companies are not paying for that ad.
That makes sense.
So and those people who are searching on Google, that's why I say Google is now and social media is later. If my family, we were in, my wife and I was in Detroit. We went to Motown. It was a wonderful experience, Motown. If you didn't go, you got to go.
I gotta go.
Oh, it was wonderful. I was trying to hold my tears back the whole time. Oh my gosh. So we were in Detroit, and we were looking for restaurants. What did we do? We went to Google, and we went to Maps, which was Google Maps. And those restaurants who was ranking, those are the restaurants we went to. Same in Albany. I went to a restaurant in Albany. I was getting trained for the police department. We didn't know where to go, and we went right online. We didn't go to Facebook. We didn't go to Instagram. I'm not saying this.
Online is the best though.
There is a space for it. There is a space
There
for
is.
social media, but now we wanted to find a restaurant. Now I didn't search my Instagram page to find a restaurant in Albany. We went on our Google Maps and we found the restaurant from there.
So that's why you say Google now, social media later.
Yes.
And let's understand the customer acquisition versus branding. Please explain that.
Yes. So customer. Sorry. Yeah. I don't know if you answered. Sorry, hold for questions. My apologies.
We'll hold for question. Don't forget it, please.
Thank you so much. My apologies. So, I'm sorry I'm saying the same thing over and over
No,
again,
that's
but
fine. It's
customer
important.
acquisition versus branding, it goes back to now and later as well. Customer acquisition is now. Where can we go? Where's our customers, right?
Right.
So where's my customers for my business? For most brands and most businesses, in the digital age that we're in now, the vast majority of us, we have to go on Google. We have to have ads on Google, okay? But that's not the only place. There are some places, you said there was a young lady you mentioned, and when we was doing the rehearsal, who has flyers.
Oh,
right?
yeah, she uses brochures.
So
she does coaching.
So depending on the
brochures.
business and brand, if you have a barbershop or a hair salon, especially if you're in a big city, but let's say Western New York, you might go to pop-up shops and you may get clients from there. Okay, if you're selling apparel, I know there is a ton of people who they're very consistent in going to every festival, every pop-up shop, and they get clients, right? And they give them brochures and say, "Hey, contact me if you want more of this." So but the bigger picture though, when we talking about the big picture, and you want a large amount of customers. Customer acquisition is normally on the search engines, okay? Making sure you're ranking and making sure you're being listed, right? So again, going back to what humans are doing, what are we doing when we're looking for something? If I have an iPhone, I'm not using Google Maps. I'm using the maps on the iPhone. So I forget what it's called, but it's a separate company. Safari, yes, but now the map app that's on the iPhone, that's a separate company. You have to go through to rank your business there. If you have an Androids use Google Maps.
Absolutely.
You see, so
Apple's
a lot
different.
of people, a lot of smaller businesses, they'll make sure they rank on Google. They'll have their business listed on Google, but that map, I forget the name of the company, but what you have to go through to make sure your business is if you pull up, Pursuit. A lending company, Pursuit Lending, and on my iPhone,
Pursuit, yep.
that has to be listed as well. So it's two separate things. So making sure your business is, and that's going back to the foundation, making sure that if I do want to go on Instagram and search a business, I should see your business hours, your website, your phone number, everything should be smack dab in front of my face on all platforms.
And it should match everywhere.
Yes, and then you might acquire a customer off of Instagram, but if your Instagram page isn't correct, if I have to search and really look for you, nobody's looking that hard for us, right?
No,
We're not that important.
No,
You
not
see?
at all. If it's food and you're hungry, you're just going to go to the next thing.
Yes, and in regards to branding, when I say later, branding is a long-term game, and it takes a long-term budget. Look at what Red Bull, Coca-Cola. When is the last time and I want to point on this real quick with social media in regards to branding. When we watch the Super Bowl, when we watch football and sports, and we're doing this, I can't speak for everyone else, but I never watched a commercial and said, "Oh man, that Pepsi is looking real good. Let me go to the store and grab a Pepsi." We never did that before. Most of us don't do that. And so most of us didn't go to a football game and we see banners of all these different companies, and I'm like, "Oh man, that's Progressive." You know what? I'm gonna leave my insurance company and I'm gonna sign up to Progressive right now because I'm at the Buffalo Bills game and I see a Progressive ad, right? So why are they spending $100 million a year doing this? That is branding. Okay.
Right, because you'll think of it later.
So basically, this is in my book as well. I have to point on this. I call this the marry me now theory. Okay. So a lot of small businesses, we don't understand the psychology of how to promote ourselves in regards to branding. We're telling people that it's like I'm at a bar, and this is in my book as well. I'm at a bar and I meet you and I'm like, "Hey, I'm a great guy. I have this and this. I'm giving you my resume, and I'm saying I want you to marry me." Right?
I want to tell you no.
That's crazy. That's insane. That's crazy.
Right.
So in regards to branding, it's the same way.
Same thing.
You have to work your way up. You have to build a relationship, and then you have to marry that person. And once you marry that person, you got them. I only drink Coca-Cola. I only go to Geico. I swear by this insurance company. This is what they're doing. They're psychologically they're making us married to the brand. Now, a way that in the new digital age that we're currently in, fortunately, we can actually get a piece of that pie. Back in the early 1960s, early 1950s, if you wanted to promote your business, you have to have a bigger budget because you have to put your business in a magazine, on the back of in the phone books.
Timing was important.
Exactly.
Timing
So
was
they're
big.
taking much. They taking a lot. They used to take a lot of money up front to put your business in the print. Right? So now we don't have to do that. Like Gary Vaynerchuk says, we have a television show in the back of our pocket. We have your cell phone. You can literally pull your cell phone out and go live every time you're conducting business. You can spend $100 on social media to put yourself out there so somebody can see you, right?
Absolutely.
So our version, we don't have millions of dollars in our budgets to brand ourselves and putting commercials on television and billboards and all of these big things. We can use social media for that. So think of social media as a cheap way for us to make commercials for our business.
For sure.
Yeah, but we can't go on there saying, hey, my name is Darren McDuffie. I'm offering marketing services. Pay me $500 a month. Geico don't even do that. They're making us laugh. Progressive, that lady Flo, she's a holiday. They dress up for Halloween for her. They're psychologically embedding us in their in
They're
our
married
lives.
to the brand at that point.
Married to the brand. So
Absolutely.
that's branding, and that's why I'm sitting here now. Not to beat a dead horse on this, but in regards to the branding section, I could have wore a suit. So I could have just wore a suit, right? But I know, like, I want to brand myself, right? Red Bull is having people jump out of helicopters and jump off of mountains for a reason, right?
Are you willing to jump out of a helicopter?
I might one day to promote my company. Yes. So now, what are people going to remember when they see this video?
Right.
Are they going to remember the guy in the suit more? Are they going to remember this guy sitting in these yellow ski pants in this cowboy hat? So when I take this video and I promote it, and I'm coming out with this ridiculous outfit on, even if they're not interested in marketing or don't own a business, they're going to watch a portion of that because they're going to want to know what's going on. Like, this is ridiculous.
What's
like,
happening?
So that's that shock value with branding. We can get more in detail with that, but I don't want to go too much in that.
Absolutely. So next we're going to talk about money and marketing.
Yes.
So deciding your business goals and investing according. Kind of get into details about investing accordingly.
Investing accordingly, and it goes back to research. But now, let's say, like we said when we was doing the rehearsal, say you have the foundation, you did your research, you're operating, right? And now you want to find out where to put your money at. You have some money, you're doing some business here. So it goes back to researching, and it goes to data, right? So what are you selling? Like, if you own a restaurant, I spoke about this guy. I won't say his name. It's a guy I'm not friends of. I'm acquainted with him. He owns several restaurants in Buffalo, New York. He's a multi-millionaire. I learned a lot from him and having side conversations regarding the restaurant industry. He explained why his restaurants do specials on the menu, right? They're testing their product, right? So you might take money out of your budget to test your product. Let's test this and let's see if people like this. If people don't like it, okay, take it off the menu.
That's a really good idea.
People do like this, let's put it on the main menu. So this guy, it was something that most of us liked, which including myself, and it's
For sure.
right now it's a part of his main burger menu, is that specific item. And another thing he told me, not to change context of this,
Right.
he said that if you change it, they'll leave. So that's a part of that research. So once you do find that thing for your business, that thing that you're providing, that's in demand, that you know people, this portion of people like, don't get creative with that. Keep that there.
Stick with it.
Yeah. So going back to our budget, as we're growing our businesses, we can play around with our budget. It starts with our services, what we're providing. And when you see something not work, you go all in on it. And now, okay, I'm on a barber shop. I have like that Dijon stuff that people put in their hair. What is it called?
yeah.
Is it called Dijon?
Oh yeah. Oh, Marjan or something.
Marjan, yeah.
I think that's what it's called.
to fill
the
it
black stuff.
to fill in bald spots. I don't know if so to fill in bald spots. Fortunately, I don't have
Something
to
like
get that yet,
Yeah.
but I'm sure I'll be there one day. But that's a great example for a barbershop. That product was new, right? So when that product was new, I'm sure there were certain barbershops that did not experiment with that product. But there were certain barbershops that was doing their research, they're in business, they're making money, they're sitting at home, they're continuing to do their research, they find this product and they say, oh, and they see some barbershop in New York is using it. And you say, okay, this is good, let me try this. And now you take money out of your budget to buy that for your barbers and you use it. And go figure, you see, oh, people like this. So now you spend more money on it. And now what do you do in regards to marketing? Let's start making videos and tell people that we offer this product now.
That's a good idea.
You see, so now we did the research, we offer this product. On your menu for your, not to keep talking about restaurants or what have you.
But it's a good example.
Yeah, so your menu, try different, I spoke about a guy who have red velvet waffles, right? We all know, some of us
already
know who he is.
We talked about.
Right? We don't, I can't
delicious.
go anywhere else in Buffalo and get red velvet waffles. I don't know any chicken and waffles that's red. He could have just had regular waffles. He didn't.
Could've.
He made them red. And that's why that's the only thing I get from it. That's the only thing I ever bought from his restaurant. Well, I order things here and there, but that's the main, that's the main thing.
That's what pulls you in.
Because they're red. You see? So it's sometimes it's as simple as something like that.
Absolutely.
Okay? Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
That's important. And spend less on your personal needs. So what would you suggest once someone's scaling up, they're making revenue, but instead they go on vacation?
Oh, no, you're gonna make me tell myself, huh?
Yeah.
Do you mind if I take this off? I am burning up.
I want you to get comfortable.
Do you mind? I'm so sorry. I'll make it quick. Yeah. So this is my apologies.
That's because you wanted to wear ski pants.
No, I am burning up right now. I'm not taking my clothes off, I promise.
No one's gonna pay you either. So
I thought about getting into business years ago, and I'm like,
Right. Listen, I have no cash, so you are really in trouble with me.
excuse me, sorry.
I cannot help you.
Okay. Much better.
Cool down?
Those some good ski pants too. It's a breath of fresh air right now. There we go.
Feel free to use my cue cards to fan yourself.
Oh, all right. I'm good now. Okay.
So let's talk about reinvesting the money you made. So they come to you, they have a great marketing plan, you have their website just off the chain, they have people coming in. How do they reinvest into their marketing and operational costs?
So I'll tell that story about this bill. I forget her name, but this billionaire about scaling. I personally did not listen to that. I did a ton of research. I watched a ton of tutorials. A few billionaires saying this is what we had to do to scale our business, and it comes down to responsibility. It's like a credit card.
Sure.
Are you going to be responsible when you have an extra $25,000 in your bank account? What are you going to do with that? So to further, before I tell on myself a little bit more here, this one billionaire, I watched her interview, and she rolled out her whole plan of how her and her family members did it. It was 3 of them. I'll say it real quick. It was 3 of them. They were immigrants. Okay, they lived in a studio apartment. They had some type of facial cream or something like that, hair like cream for the hair and skin and things of that sort. So what they were doing, they were growing their business. When they made money, they put it back into the business. That did not click with me when they said putting it back into the business. They're spending more money on their Google ads. They're spending more money on their social media ads. They're spending more money getting products and scaling their business. So in short, what she said at one point, they grew the business, they kept growing and growing and growing, and they stayed in that studio apartment, living below their means. And then they got to the point where they were able to quit their jobs. When they quit their jobs, they stayed in that studio apartment. They just took the bare minimum. They budgeted everything out. That exact amount of money that they were making when they were working, that's pretty much what they budgeted for themselves, okay? And they lived way below their means. They turned into multimillionaires. They still stayed in that studio apartment, and they was putting. Now they're spending millions of dollars on the business. Now they are considered wealthy. They're making tens of millions of dollars now. Now they're spending tens of millions of dollars on the business, and it got to us. Now they're scaling. They're hiring employees.
That's the way to scale up.
They're getting office space, and they're getting factories and stuff in different cities, and they're still living in this studio apartment. Now they're spending hundreds of millions of dollars growing their business. Now it's time. Now they always say this. They say, then we took profit. What do you mean by that? Because now we done made $1.5 billion now. Now I'm buying that mansion. Now I'm about to buy that Lamborghini. Oh, I want a helicopter now too.
Absolutely.
So now for me, I made a huge mistake with that. It was one of the biggest mistakes I made in my marketing agency, and it set my business back, where I was taking her and her mother to the water park, and then we go here, and I was spending that money, and I was very proud to do that. So we have to set that aside as well. Psychologically, we're finally making money, especially as men. We're like, yes, I'm going to take my business money and I'm going to buy my wife something. I'm going to take my kids out, and then I started paying bills with it. Right? Huge mistake. So that's what I was doing. I made my business income a part of my regular income. And one thing I didn't say during the rehearsal is something called client retention. So this one guy is paying me $1,950 a month. This other business is paying me $997. That's my starter package for consulting and marketing is $997. This business is paying me my basic marketing package, which is $450 for a basic marketing package. I have several websites complete. They're paying me $499 up front to build their website, and then $49.95 a month to maintain a website and host it. I'm doing business. I got my office.
You're doing good.
I'm like, oh my God,
yes.
Right? Well, guess what? Not yet.
Don't clap yet.
No, because now I'm gonna get, so I got an office. A-Marie remembers this. It wasn't a window office. I'm like, man, I want the window office. So I got the window office.
Look
I pay a little bit more,
splurging.
Right? Yeah, that's real nice and everything, right? Other than taking that money and putting it in my Google ads to become a millionaire in 6 months. No, I'm gonna spend $1,600 a month for an office, right?
Your office is nice, by the way. When y'all go in there, it's nice.
I shouldn't have did that.
It's expensive.
So now the point I'm trying to make is, it wasn't a laughing matter when it happened. They don't stay. Client retention. I got comfortable. Now I'm doing all of this. I'm not gonna say his name. This guy, he wants to retire. He's an old man, and rightfully so. I had him for almost 3 years. $1,950 a month gone.
Ooh.
This client cancels. $1,000 a month gone. This client, this guy in California, he moves on and he does something else. None of them cancel because anything bad happened, but it's called client retention. Okay, and I learned in my marketing agency, sometimes they pay you and they got enough work out of you. They're like, okay, that's enough. My business is doing well. Maybe I'll pay them again on a later date, but I've been paying them for 2 years. It's time to move on and take money out of our budget. And I had to learn the hard way. I lost close to almost $4,000 a month within a few month time frame, just like that. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I should have been scaling my business. So not to be the dead horse with this, but for us, especially in the inner city, not having certain funding, not having access. Well, we do have access to certain things like your company.
We do.
Have
there
access.
Is not a lack of funding for sure.
What I mean by that is having access internally, the family structure, the friends in the family. There are a lot of different cultures and races that may have the uncle to say, hey, I see you're doing good with your restaurant, and I know somebody like this. They wanted to have a bars downtown. His best friend gave him $80,000. You
Absolutely.
See? So when we don't have access to that, we have to be more responsible with our money so that we have to pay ourselves the $80,000 so that we can have a second location. If we spend that money, we're going to continue working a full-time job and having a business.
Absolutely.
Full-time job and a business. We have to just take our money from that full-time job, grow the business, get employees. Yes, I have $100,000. Let's get this location in Rochester now. You do it again. Let's get this location in Brooklyn now. You do it again. Let's get this location in Atlanta. Good. Buy yourself a Range Rover now.
So you definitely have to have a mindset from what you're saying. You have to have a mindset of being always on brand, because that wraps it back in. If you're always on brand, you're thinking business. So as soon as you're about to swipe that Amex card, or you're coming to Pursuit for lending and that money's getting distributed and ACH into your account, you're thinking not vacation or Lamborghini, you're thinking business. And you're like, I'm gonna continue to drive that Toyota Camry, but I'm gonna come and I'm gonna make sure my website's on point. I'm gonna hire someone new, that type of thing.
Absolutely, and not to be the dead horse with this, but they tell us to to reward ourselves.
Absolutely.
Right? So there is a limit to that. When they're telling us to do that, we have to think we are different. We're not regular, right? We're not being regular. We're blatantly getting in business so that we can be different. We are the leaders. We are the people hiring other people that's going to be putting food in their mouths. We are the people that can change our neighborhoods. If I become a billionaire, if somebody here in this audience becomes a multi-billionaire
Absolutely.
and says, you know what, I want to spend $500 million in Buffalo, New York, you will change the entire city. Just like that.
Change the whole
you
city.
See? So it's important. So going back to what you call that, rewarding yourself, we can't do that.
Right.
You can't reward yourself. Now, if it depends on our goals. So if your goal is just to have a restaurant and you making $150,000, $200,000 a year, there's nothing wrong with that. But I'm talking about people who want to become a massive industry, and you want to scale, and you want to have ultimate financial freedom. You cannot take $2,000 out of that and buy that vacation. You can't do that.
And I will say, if we're speaking to the inner city, all business owners mainly, but in inner city, I would say if you're going to splurge and do to reward yourself, it needs to be in self-care and mental health, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Would you agree with that?
Oh, yeah.
Definitely, instead of buying a medallion or going on a vacation, it's very, very important to reinvest in yourself, whether it comes to education.
I live at the spa. I live there.
I bet you did.
We need it. Yes, we need it. You need that.
Because
yes.
You know, a massage for $200 is worth it.
Yes.
But
yes.
So I think rewarding yourself needs to be in a different way. It needs to be in a mental health capacity. It needs to be in a different way. Education is very important.
Absolutely.
So furthering your education, whether it's doing things like Women Business Center, whether it's MWEC, UB, things of that nature, all of those are important. So I would say, again with you, instead of splurging on trips or jewelry and things of that nature, giving back to yourself may be, I need to step away from my business to educate myself or get myself together mentally. So I would definitely add that in there.
Absolutely. Thank you. That's
not
great.
To take from,
no, that's wonderful.
Yeah,
that
I
is
would
wonderful.
Definitely say that's important.
Thank you.
So being memorable, you had your costume on with your ski pants and cowboy hat.
Shout out to Lieutenant, my best friend, Lieutenant Christopher Fields, for the cowboy hat. I told him I'll say it in camera.
Oh, thank you for doing that for him.
Yeah.
He donated to a good cause.
Yeah, he loves the hat.
Being memorable is very, very important when it comes to marketing. It's not the only thing, obviously, and you'll help people navigate that. But let's get into them trusting you. So when you're helping businesses in their marketing plan, how do you help them build trust? What do you suggest for their brand?
So how do I help clients trust me?
Absolutely.
Yes, it goes to being on brand. It goes to being on brand. I'm getting better at putting tutorials out on social media, doing things like this, letting people know who I am. In the digital phase now is very interesting. People are smarter now. People like my daughter, they know what they're doing. They don't want to be sold to. They do their research. So people want to know who the owner is, especially consultants. So going back to those lifestyle people, the consultants, hair salons, barbershop, just imagine if you want to leave your hairstylist. Just to say if you want to leave you're not just going to plop down in a new hair salon. You want to know who they are. And imagine if you see this, woman or man on social media, and you're scrolling through their page, their hair salon, and they're at a party, another party. Oh, they're doing some hair. Oh, they're partying again. You see? Or they're acting a way that you may not want to be around, or dressing.
You may not agree with.
You may not agree with, okay? So depending on what you're promoting, that party may help grow your page, but I'm just using it as an example.
True.
So it's not necessarily a bad thing, and depending on what you're promoting.
It depends.
So it's about being on brand.
for what your business is.
Yes.
Make sure that you're reflecting that appropriately. Because like you said, for some industries, if you're not out at a party, they're wondering like, why are you being a hermit at home? That's weird.
Yes.
If you're
And-
like into music or something to that effect.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And there was another thing called, for those of you who do have office space, there's a huge thing, I believe it was Hillary, I believe it was Hillary that did something. I've watched something on this. She was giving advice to women on how to set their office space up.
Oh, nice.
This was very interesting. She told them to keep their family photos out of their office.
Oh.
It was things like that when they were doing, like with the CEOs and they're doing big business and certain things and they're competing with men. You hear this, Amory? So they're competing with men. This is a small example, but these are different taxes of things that, that you can do, right? So,
Right.
She gave advice on that, and her reasoning behind that for that one small thing was that if you're working for a certain industry, if you're in a certain business and trying to close a deal, if they see that, it's sad to say, but us men, if we see that you're a woman and you have kids and you're promoting your kids, well, she's going to end up putting more time on those kids versus what she has to do for my business.
That definitely
Right.
does happen to women.
So,
Yes.
yeah, so she gave advice on that. So, but going back to my office, setting my office up for success. So if you was in my office, you saw my military stuff there.
Yeah.
You saw my police thing there. I'm not going to come out and say, hey, I'm Darren McDuffie, I'm a lieutenant in the police department. You can see the little statue there that my dispatchers bought for me, right? And all of these different things. And, I have my Harry Potter wand there. There has been people in my office that said, oh, you went to Universal, and we're talking about that. Going back to what I said last time, I closed the deal when I was talking to an individual. It's a big company. We got in a conversation about military, and then we got into a conversation about police. 20 minutes into that meeting, I knew I had the deal.
Absolutely.
So these are different ways, like how
to
you
build
present.
trust
Yes.
and to be memorable.
Yes.
With our session Show Up and Show Out, what's a big way to give a big splash and really put your business out there?
Ooh, a big way to do
What
a big
is something
splash?
that you suggested for someone and like they blew up? Like they called you and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't keep people out the door.
Oh, like something that they can do to do
To be
that?
more memorable, yes.
Oh man, I call it the pink dinosaur. Get in that helicopter, jump out of it. So, no, seriously, to be more memorable in your business, there's a lot of different things you can do. It comes down to the brand. Now, to be more memorable, we're talking about branding, not like customer acquisition.
Absolutely.
So, to be more memorable, step outside of the box. Get comfortable
don't be
being
afraid.
uncomfortable. I don't wear hats. I definitely don't wear hats. I'm against that. I'm very traditional, right? Walking on stage,
Indoors,
being on
right.
camera in snow and ski pants. You don't have to do that, but step outside of the box. Don't be scared to do it, and do your research. Research other people. Going back to barbershops and hair salons and restaurants, you might see a barbershop doing something extraordinary. We talked about it yesterday
Absolutely.
about what some of the barbershops do overseas. If I never experienced this before, I would think that as a man, other men is not gonna want to get neck massages at a barbershop. Well, when I was overseas, infantry soldiers, we will get our haircuts, and then we will get our hair cut, and we will pay an extra $5 to $10 for those guys to give us a 5-minute neck massage in the chair. All of us, all the soldiers would be lined up, and most of us will do it. And I'm like, oh, I never knew that, right? So that might be a little weird for you to try that, or to get,
Right.
but try it. There's a barbershop in Buffalo, New York. Believe it's HOME, Hom Grooming Lounge, owned
Right,
by
downtown on Main Street.
Yes, owned by Sean, and he have some of his hairstylists have a machine that they put on their hand to massage your scalp. That is excellent. I haven't been there yet. My apologies, Sean, but I am going
He'll
there.
get there. When are you going next week? Make sure you make a promise.
Yes, and literally the reason why I know who he is, but that's not my barbershop. You know how hard it is to go somewhere else when you're going to a hair
It's
salon or a
difficult.
barbershop. I'm going there to get that service.
Right.
I want them to massage my scalp with that
Absolutely.
machine. You
Absolutely.
see, so there are different things that you can do if you are a lifestyle coach and you're providing a service and you're a counselor, right? There are a lot of counselors out there. and you have an office, get a little refrigerator. They have the things that you can buy with the lavender towels. It may take 20 minutes to a half hour extra a day. Get the little lavender towels and roll it up. And when I come to your office and you're my lifestyle coach, you hand me that towel and I put that lavender on my face, I might not ever go nowhere
It's
else.
so relaxing. so
Yeah.
basically you're saying pivot and be okay to try new things.
Try new and put it online. Don't
Right.
don't be a counselor and do something amazing like that and give your people those towels. Put it online and say
Tell
this
them
is what
it's
we're
complimentary.
This is a complimentary like lavender
Right.
hot towels we're giving you before you get a session with us. Let people
Absolutely.
know what you're doing, and that one thing may cause you to get some extra clientele or build that trust with people. Like, man, they're taking pride in their business to go above and beyond to do something extra. I like that. I want them to be my lifestyle coach.
That's a big
Yeah.
deal. So you have given so many gems tonight, and we
Sorry, it's a lot
really
of information.
No, I love it, and I super appreciate it. And I'm sure everyone here appreciates it. Those who will watch the recording after appreciates it, and we really love having you. But
Thank
there
you.
is a gift from Darren for those who are here. So thank him for it. But
no worries.
we have an amazing book that was written by Darren called Fundamental Marketing, The Psychology of Why and How. There is a promo code for that, so anyone attending tonight can get that for free. Is please support, please support, and let people know that he has a book. That's a big deal.
Thank you. When you scan
Yeah.
the QR code, it'll take you right to the book, and you have to
Have to
follow
put in
the
a promo code.
Nope. So when
Oh.
you scan the QR code, I have the promo code already locked in.
Nice.
So you
Thank you.
just go to the cart as if you would check out, and you will see that it'll say free. So you
Right.
just continue through checkout. When you scan it, it'll go to the product. You just click add to cart. Go to the cart, and you should see that book is free, and you'll be able to download it on any device you would like.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then also
Thank you.
what I wanted to say, tell us about any other services you provide. You were talking about your coaching.
Yes.
I want to know more about that.
So coaching, I haven't. That's something new. So I created.
So I'm blowing up your spot
Yeah.
before you're ready. I'm so sorry, but tell us about it
no worries.
anyway.
See, I didn't
don't
mention
care.
that one. So I have. And I'm in the process of expanding my brand, and I like to create for businesses that have a lot going on. You might have more than one business, more than one skill set. I like to create a headquarters, right? So I've done this for some clients, and now I'm doing it for myself. So you can go to DarrenMcDuffie.com. That's McDuffie, not Y. So FFIE, DarrenMcDuffie.com. And from there, you'll be able to read almost everything about me. You'll be able to see what I have going on. And I have hyperlinks to all of my different things that I have going on. And one of those links is a link to online coaching. So there is a price for it. There's an hourly fee.
Absolutely.
So to get access to the link for my online coaching, you go to DarrenMcDuffie.com, and you will see online, you will see coaching. You press that, and then you can go from there to get this type of, if you don't want to sign up for services and you just want to get coaching along the
Right.
process, I do offer
Because
that.
sometimes people are only ready for that.
It's a brand new service.
I'm going to give you the mic one last time. Who
No
is your
worries.
mentor? Because in these series, I want to give like background information to this. In these series, we have talked a lot about leadership, mentorship is super important for especially people of color to be comfortable with that. So who is your mentor? Who is a person that you've leaned on to grow your career?
So in leadership, I have to give that to the United States military.
Absolutely.
A man named Sergeant Winsek, in regards to leadership, I was a different person a long time ago. I was very tough to deal with at 18 years old. And this man, he's an old white guy. And sorry, Sergeant, for calling you old. But he, when everyone was talking about me, this kid from the inner city, this ghetto kid from the inner city, he would pull me aside and he would just make me feel included no matter what. He yelled at the entire platoon. He said, "Stop calling my phone. Don't call my phone. I'm your chief." He pulled me aside and said, "Darren, you call me anytime you want." You know, when they accused me, when I was in South America, they was accusing me of certain things that wasn't true. He pulled me aside and said, "I don't care what they say. You're a great man. You're going to do great things." And he taught me how to hide. Sergeant Winsek taught me how to hide. He said, "You don't have to show everybody if you're great. You don't have to show everyone your greatness. Take this test. You're going to be their supervisor anyway." You know.
Absolutely.
So he told me when to to be strategic as a leader and when to show, oh, hey, this is what I am. Surprise, I just scored higher than you. Now I'm your boss. So that's one of the guys, him and the military, in regards to leadership. In regards to business, it's a man named Jim Rohn and Robert F. Smith. Robert F. Smith is the wealthiest black businessman in the United States.
Oh, wow.
What's unique about Robert F. Smith is that he come in a middle-class neighborhood, grew up in a middle-class neighborhood, very educated, but he made his first million in his mid-30s. From about 30-something years old to his late 40s, he became the richest man in the richest black man in the United States. I think his net worth is over $9 billion now. So that's very real, and he's in a digital age. So in a digital age, you can go from 35 years old to 48 and be one of the richest people in America, which he did. And so I really like what he talks about. I follow him. And Jim Rohn, he is, that's pretty much like a pastor. I listen to Jim Rohn almost every week. And he's very aggressive and very strategic in lifestyle skills and business. Jim Rohn says one thing that's very important, especially for stepping out of the box, being scared to do this, scared to do that. He says, hey, I'll tell you one thing that's for sure, we're all not going to make it. So you might as well do it anyway because we're not going to make it.
Absolutely.
So he
so
said,
have that freedom.
Yeah, how scary is that? So you might as well live it to the fullest and try everything so you can live the good life. And like Jim Rohn says, there is nothing wrong with trying to live the good life and doing the things you have to do to get there.
Absolutely. I really appreciate that. So what I want to do now is open the floor up to questions. Does anyone have any questions for Darren here?
On Google, there's a blue like award thing with a check mark in it. What does that mean for a business? Like, what does that do for a business?
There's a blue check mark on Google.
Yeah.
You know what? Is that in the when you're searching something? Is that next to the business, or is that actually in the URL bar, like next to the domain?
No, when I searched for the business, there was a blue check mark, kind of like, I don't know if it's verified. I don't know what it means, but it's on there.
Yeah, I do know certain agencies. I don't want to give you the wrong information here. I do know certain agencies, they have something that they can sign up for to become some type of verified business with Google.
Oh, gotcha.
So I do know that. I don't see that blue check often, but I believe that's what that is. It's not the actual business. I believe it's the actual agency that they're going through, and they have to do certain things to get that verification to put that on that specific business. Yes,
that
ma'am.
Makes sense.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Were there any other questions? Okay,
Ask
we're
away.
golden.
Good.
Thank you so much. It was great to partner. I'm from Pursuit. Again, Crystal Morgan from Pursuit. It was great to partner with East Buffalo Development. And please enjoy the refreshments in the back. And I thank everyone for coming out.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone.
I mean, like, you do this for a living, you know? That's what it's like. That's what it's like.
Left